Right, cool.
Thinking about, oh, what else can I do if I can do this?
Releasing it all.
Whoa, look at
That's
that.
the worst part.
What's life like now, apart from the fact you can sleep on your
It
chest?
doesn't matter how much I sit there worrying.
Did you consciously know what your root cause is? Hi, Jordan. I'm really grateful that you are here today. And I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay, because other people will be wondering whether it's beneficial to work with me, what your experiences have been, and all that sort of stuff. So thank you for joining me today. And first of all, the first question I'd like to ask you is, what did you want my help to overcome?
Well, before I'd come to you, I was feeling very depressed. I started to get a lot of quite severe anxieties. I'd felt unwanted in the world for quite a long time, and it was getting to a point where I couldn't I couldn't drag myself out of that hole anymore. And every time I did, it was always a short-term basis, and it never lasted. So I never really felt I'd truly got to the root cause of the problem. So I thought it was a great place to start and try. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What was life like living with that issue?
It was difficult. I mean, there was obviously times that things were a lot better, and there was times that at the majority of the time where things would kind of go downhill. Obviously I struggled to get out of bed at the time, and I couldn't motivate myself. I was living in a messy home, in a messy state with a messy mind, and it was just really it's just really becoming a struggle, and I was struggling to keep up with my business. And obviously the longer that went on for, the worse it got, and it just kind of got exponentially worse.
How long had that been going on for?
Probably a good portion of my life, really. Right, a good majority of my life, I'd kind of always been like in and out. Whether I'd recognised it at the time or not, it was always a huge like up and down, like many up and downs throughout the year, and it would always come back to the same point at the same time, and it would always just be a struggle. So there would be maybe a few weeks of the year where I'd be really up and happy in myself, and it was always short lived. So that was obviously it wasn't sustainable. So I couldn't carry on like that.
Mm-hmm. What did you try before working with me?
I tried obviously a lot of I tried say just like distracting myself in some ways. I tried obviously I was to smoke weed and things like that, which obviously was a coping mechanism. And other situations I would try socially interact with people more, or then I'd also socially interact with people less. And I've tried like everything really, online gaming or things like that. It would always be something to occupy the mind and just keep it busy. But obviously, it's again, it never solved anything. It just kind of gave some temporary happiness that would never last,
Yeah,
never
like a
help.
distraction, I suppose, really,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, of course.
So how many hours, money, or time do you think you've spent trying to solve the problem of depression and living with it?
I like many hours, of course, like countless hours. But in terms of money, like if I if I went through all of the things that I was addicted to and maybe spent like if I'd rather than cook, I might have go eat out and or grab a McDonald's or something. So I think all together, including things like my drug use and stuff like that, it would have easily be in the tens of thousands, very easily.
Wow. Wow. So what did you do? What made you decide to work with me?
I My mum had actually spoken to me, and we'd finally sat down, and because I'm always one to I was always one to refuse help, and try and sort things on myself and be independent or anything like that. But I'd never really tried any therapy. I'd done the odd bit of counselling here and there at school and stuff like that, but that was never too successful or things like that. And I just hadn't I hadn't tried. I tried lots. So I tried lots of things that just didn't work. So
So, and what was your experience with working with me?
it was brilliant. I was obviously, as you know, I was a bit skeptical at first because it to me didn't seem like the hypnotherapy side of things always sounded a bit I can't really think of a word. It just didn't sound like it was something that would work for
Yeah,
me.
because
It,
basically all I do is talk to you with your eyes closed. It's like, how's that going to make a difference, right?
exactly, and it kind of felt like, you know, that well, it was worth a try. You know, it was worth a try because it was at a point where if I didn't, then obviously things just wouldn't ever get better. And obviously, I'm very glad I did because it ended up being very successful and it was really good. So, see, the skepticism is now gone, and I would recommend it. I'd absolutely recommend it.
Lovely, thank you. So, how many sessions did we have together? Can you remember?
Yeah, only two
Yeah,
sessions, and I think
it,
each one was about an hour and a half each. And yeah, it got to the point at the end of the second session where it was like I felt very heard. Uh, I did almost feel a little bit confused afterwards. It's like because there was a lot to take in, a lot to take in from the past, and and it was hard to see like what had happened or helped. But obviously, the things that did help, you don't see, and you can't necessarily see what has helped. It's all in like your subconscious mind that it really almost was like starting to snowball. It was starting to snowball up, and it would start to like improve itself further and further as I went along, and every day it kind of got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better until eventually it just kind of did click. Because it wasn't long ago we had our sessions, was it? It wasn't long at all. But you know, after a week, I felt fantastic. I felt great. I really started to feel more motivated. I got a closer connection with my family and my friends, and I really started to become myself. Like after obviously quite a considerable amount of time. So it was lovely. It was really nice.
gorgeous, isn't it? Because that's one of my passions, that life is for living, and not come back next week and talk about it, because it just doesn't, it isn't necessary when you get to the roots, like you said, in your subconscious mind, because you don't consciously know where it all began, but your subconscious mind does. And
Exactly.
so it's just about exploring that. I think it's a beautiful journey of self-discovery where you see how those things in your past influenced you that you may not even be consciously aware of, and then to really peel back the layers and really see what the real truth is in that moment. You know, when you were 5, 10, whatever, school days, it's all sorts of things it can
Yeah,
affect, isn't it? And into the now moment, really.
definitely. And obviously, as all those things in your past build up and they build on each other, and then the negativity will build on itself, and it will just keep manifesting itself to get more and more and more negative if you let it. And you don't like
Mm.
if you don't like say if you don't address those root causes, you're not gonna solve the problem. You know, you're never gonna solve the problem. But
That's
yeah,
right, absolutely. Just deal with the symptoms isn't the way forward. Going to the root of it is just amazing. So what's life like now then after working with me? Because we only worked, I think it was the back end of last year, wasn't it?
I think so. Or
Early this
early
year, was
this
it?
year. I think it was early this year. I feel
Was it?
like it might be around. Yeah, it was early. I mean, I might be wrong.
No, I
Honestly,
can't remember.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
maybe.
But
I can't remember.
it
Yeah,
was
maybe it was the beginning of this year. So it's not that long ago. Either way, it's not long ago. So
no, not.
what's
It's
life
just got
like
better.
now then?
No, it's much better. Like really much better. I've I've really come back into myself. I was always naturally a very social um social friendly person, and I'd kind of ended up developing quite a bit of an edge. And not that I was ever mean to people or ever not social, but I was obviously not myself, and I was obviously not the same. And since the sessions, I've really become a really positive person, very optimistic again, and helping spread a bit of positivity around. It's great. It's really good, and I've had a lot of comments from people saying about how well I'm doing and how positive I am and things like that. And it's a really nice feeling to know that I'm not spreading negativity anymore. I'm spreading the positivity.
Oh, Jordan, that's just awesome because that is your true nature of who you are
Exactly.
now, and the other stuff was all because of the old stuff that you'd gone through that made you feel bad about yourself, and that's what happens, isn't it? It's like you said, it's a bit of a snowball. You catch all the the old stories about how you
Yeah.
perceive yourself to be, and like you said, it all just becomes more and more of it, like a string of lights, ding ding ding, this now moment is making me feel like it did when I was 5 or 10, or all this sort of stuff, and then you feel more, it just
Yes. Yeah.
perpetuates,
Exactly.
doesn't it? So more and more depression, more and more anxiety, more and more of that. But when you get to the root, you've released all those
Yeah.
old emotions, and then here you are
That's
feeling
it. Like,
absolutely amazing. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
exactly. Like it's almost like cutting a tree down from the bottom. Like, you know, the roots, the roots of the negativity that where they started, and then but if you're cutting the tree down a centimeter at a time from the top, as it's growing, it's probably going to keep growing as you're cutting. Obviously, it probably would have, but the analogy. So you keep going down, and it would just take so long to do it. Whereas obviously, if you cut from the bottom, it's just going to fell the tree, and it'll be much faster. And it's better way, better way.
It is. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. So, some people might be nervous about investing in themselves, or they may never have invested in themselves before. They might be sitting on the fence. So, what would you say to that person who's listening?
Well, I would say try it. I'd absolutely say try it because realistically, I had spent so much money on incorrect methods, things that obviously have not been beneficial to me in my life, or even though it felt beneficial at the time, like many addictions, many like games, like uh, retail therapy, things like that. Like you just like work and then spend your money and then it and just to make yourself feel better. Whereas realistically, if you can have just a couple of sessions, then that would have negated, I would have saved thousands. If I'd been better from a long time ago, I would have saved so much money, saved so much heartache, so much, depression, and would have really, helped boost your life earlier. Do you know what I mean? So just get it done as soon as you can, and really make yourself feel good again, because it's all about making yourself feel proper rather than sitting there and just being down and depressed and feeling like you don't belong, because well, of course we all belong. So it's nice, it's really nice.
Mm. Yeah, we all belong, but many of us have got that feeling like we don't belong, we can't connect, and we just feel so not enough, don't we, as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But they're all just stories, aren't they? It's not who we really are. It's just the old stuff that we've gone through that's made us feel like that.
that's it. And you're always going to go through experiences in your life. Like there might be some bad experiences, there might be some good experiences, but it'll all just help build on your character and help uh make you a better person, and just, but if they've affected you too negatively, and then they can't, and they really do affect your life in a negative way, well, you've got to find out why, and you got to understand why that's made you feel that way, and see the light in the bad situations that will hopefully bring you back to reality and bring you back to yourself.
Yeah, and I think once you've released it in the past, you can navigate through life easier. The bumps in the road don't feel quite so bumpy. You can sort of like smooth it over a little bit. They're not quite
Exactly.
so traumatic, are they? You can navigate through life, because you've got more confidence in yourself and your own abilities, and you trust yourself and your intuition and that kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah, yeah, it
That's awesome.
really was very beneficial.
That's awesome. So, is there anything else you'd like to add, or why specifically working with me was good?
Well, it wasn't not too much to add, but I think it was really lovely working with you. It was you're a very positive person. It's very nice. You obviously care. You obviously care about your individual clients. It's lovely. Like you really showed a lot of care and attention towards me. You listened. There was no feeling of judgment. There was no feeling of there was no negative feelings during the entire thing, even though it was bringing up things in my past that maybe weren't so pleasant. It was a really nice experience, and I felt very heard. I felt very heard, and I felt very, very happy that I wasn't going crazy. I wasn't just depressed, and it wasn't just me. You know, there are reasons, and there's always a reason, and there's always a way back. You know, so it's great. It was really really great working with you. It's fantastic.
Oh, that was lovely. Thank you. And I often say to my clients as well, if you roll the dice again, I'm you, you're me. So there is no judgment. You know,
Exactly.
it's just that this is what happened to you. Let's just have a look and see, you know, what is going on for you, and so that you can stand back in your true power, that soulful essence of who you really are. Because we're
Exactly.
all these sparkly diamonds, we're all made of love. So to peel back the layers and to stand in your true, it feels more grounded, doesn't it? Sort of a more grounded energy after you've peeled all the old stuff away.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't feel so superficial or forced. Like, you know, if you spend
Mm.
your life, or as I feel, if I'd spent my life on, like, maybe I when I was depressed, I'd post on social media a lot or something. You try and get validation from other sources, when realistically you only need validation from yourself. As long as you're happy with yourself and you're doing the right, you're on the right path in life, you feel great, and you can just keep it going in that way. And you've got to be happy
Yeah.
with yourself before you're happy. Before you can spread that happiness to other people, you've got to be happy with yourself.
That's it. That's true self-love. That's wonderful. And that is the only thing wrong with any of us, actually, is the lack of self-love. And it's not running a bath and putting rose petals in it. It is that energy of like, here I am. Take
Exactly.
it, leave it. I don't mind really. You know, I'd like it if you'd like me, but you don't have to. And
Exactly.
you're not going to other people and going, will you meet my needs? Will you? Because you meet your own. And
That's
then
it.
that means you attract better relationships, better all sorts of things just come to you because you're the magnet then of attracting good, gorgeous stuff, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how it feels.
So thank you so much. It's just been a pleasure talking to you today, Jordan. Thank you for
And you
joining
too.
me.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks for all your help.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.